Blades. Blades are the most common type of weapon, classified by their shape, size, and reputation. Some of them have become iconic, deeply tied to their wielders, and even have their own legendary stories. So, let's take a quick dive into the different types of blades in One Piece. First up, the katana, the perfect blend of beauty and precision. With its curved blade, single sharp edge, and long hilt for two-handed combat, the katana delivers swift and powerful strikes. It's the go-to weapon for swordsmen like Zoro and the samurai of Wano. You'll mostly see katanas used in intense one-on-one duels, where skill and technique take center stage. Next, we've got the saber. These heavy-duty swords are often wielded by Marines and Western-style pirates, making them ideal for high-impact slashes. It may not have the finesse of a katana, but in the right hands, a saber can be an absolute powerhouse. Fun fact, Shanks himself uses a saber. Then there's the dagger, small but deadly, perfect for close-quarters combat or sneak attacks. Its compact size makes it easy to conceal and strike when the enemy least expects it. Assassins and side characters often use daggers, but don't sleep on them. Daggers have played major roles in strategic battles. And of course, you can always throw them like shurikens for extra flair. Now, let's talk about legendary swords. In One Piece, the top-tier blades are known as Meito, ranked based on craftsmanship and power. They're divided into three categories: Seijo o Wazamono, and Ryo Wazamono. The strongest of these can surpass regular swords, especially when enhanced with haki. Take Yoru, for example, Dracula Mihawk's massive black sword in the shape of a cross. It's not just a symbol of his strength. This thing can cut through almost anything with a single strike. Then there's Shusui, the legendary blade once wielded by Ryuma, now part of Zoro's arsenal. More than just a weapon, it carries the cultural legacy of Wano. And of course, we can't forget Enma, the beast of a sword that Zoro inherited from Odin. This sword is legendary, capable of unleashing insane attacks and cutting through some of the strongest opponents in One Piece history. And just a second, my friends, we've hit the 3,000 subscriber milestone, all thanks to your love and support. We truly appreciate it. But the journey doesn't stop here. Let's push forward to 1,000 and build an even bigger, stronger anime community together. If you enjoy our videos and can't wait for more, hit that subscribe button and join the anime fam. And don't forget to like and share to spread the hype even further. Thanks a lot, and love you all. Now, poles. In One Piece, poles, aka staffs, rods, and all sorts of long weapons, bring a crazy amount of variety, both in design and how they're used in battle. These weapons are classified based on their shape, material, and purpose. Starting with the basics, we have the standard staff, usually made of wood or metal. Nothing too fancy here. These are just simple sticks meant for blocking and smacking people at close range. Straightforward, right? Now, stepping things up, we've got poles with upgraded ends. This is where people start attaching heavy stuff like maces, or sharp tips like spears. For example, a morning star is basically a long stick with a spiky metal ball at the end. It's like a mix between a club and a polearm. It has the impact of a club, but with way better reach. Then, we've got hybrid weapons, designed to both smash and pierce, making them brutal in combat. A good example? Gardoa, a filler character, rocking a golden halberd. And then, of course, there are the transforming poles, like Nami's bow staff. Originally just a simple 3-section staff, but thanks to Usopp's genius, it evolved into the Climatact, allowing her to control weather effects like thunder, wind, and rain. From tech upgrades to crazy materials like sea stone, poles always mix creativity with power. Take Smoker's sea stone-tipped Jita, for example. This bad boy completely nullifies devil fruit abilities, which is why Luffy got wrecked by it multiple times. It just shows how crucial sea stone weapons are in fights against devil fruit users. Clubs. Clubs are the go-to weapons for powerhouses who rely on brute strength and sheer force. These weapons are simple, raw, and ridiculously effective at smashing enemies into the ground. Unlike swords, which cut, or poles, which have reach and versatility, Clubs don't mess around with finesse. They're all about crushing power. Swing hard, hit harder. No fancy techniques needed, just pure muscle and a bad attitude. And let's be real, if you see someone carrying a giant club, you already know they're built different. Clubs come in different shapes and sizes. First, you've got the basic ones, plain wooden or metal bats designed for heavy hitting. Then there are the spiked clubs, with sharp metal studs to add some extra pain. And if that's not enough, there are the absolutely massive clubs, wielded only by monsters with inhuman strength. One special type is the kanabo, a traditional Japanese war club that's somewhere between a polearm and a blunt weapon. It's long, heavy, and designed to wreck anything in its path. Now, let's talk about some of the most iconic clubs. First up, Yamato's kanabo, a massive iron club covered in small spikes. Yamato uses it to perform devastating attacks like Thunder Bagua, which was strong enough to go head-to-head with Kaido. Speaking of which, Kaido's Hasaikai is on another level. It's an enormous, spiked club that, combined with his Uo Uo no Mi dragon powers and Conqueror's Haki, turns him into an absolute wrecking machine. We saw just how terrifying it was in Wano when he casually knocked out some of the strongest characters in the series. At the end of the day, clubs aren't just weapons, they're a statement. If you see someone wielding a club, chances are they don't need tricks or strategy, just raw, overwhelming strength. And when mixed with Haki or Devil Fruit abilities, these weapons become unstoppable forces of destruction, capable of leveling entire battlefields. Flails. Flails are one of those weapons that don't show up often, but when they do, they bring absolute chaos. Unlike your typical swords or clubs, a flail consists of a handle, usually a stick or something similar, connected to a heavy object like a spiked ball or metal weight by a chain, rope, or anything flexible. The whole point of this weapon? Swing it, smash things, and maybe even wrap it around your opponent's weapon or their face if you're feeling extra. Now, the big advantage of a flail is its unpredictability. Unlike a sword, which follows a clear attack path, or a club, which just goes bonk, a flail can change direction mid-swing, making it hard to block or dodge. But here's the catch, it's also tricky to control. One wrong move and boom, you just smacked yourself instead of your opponent. That's why wielding a flail requires serious skill. But when you throw in Haki, a Devil Fruit ability, or some crazy tech, yeah, that's when a flail turns into an absolute wrecking machine. Flails come in different shapes and styles. First, you've got the classic chain flail, just a simple handle connected to a weight by a chain. Nothing fancy, just pure destruction. Then there's the spiked flail, where the metal ball is covered in spikes for extra pain, because apparently smashing someone with a giant ball wasn't painful enough. Oh, and let's not forget Frankie's heavy nunchucks, which are basically two giant metal pillars connected by a chain. Because why use regular weapons when you can just swing around parts of a building, right? Truth be told, flails don't get a lot of screen time in One Piece. Oda doesn't hype them up like legendary Mato swords or high-tech laser cannons. But when they do show up, they bring pure destruction, wild combat mechanics, and a whole lot of pain. Simple, chaotic, and absolutely devastating. That's the flail for you. Projectile weapons. Projectile weapons aren't just about shooting stuff from a distance. They play a huge role in strategy and raw firepower during battles. The main advantage? You can attack without getting up close and personal, which is a lifesaver when fighting someone ridiculously strong. These weapons range from guns, bows, and cannons to high-tech gadgets, making the variety of long-range combat in One Piece pretty wild. But here's the catch. It's not just about having a powerful weapon, it's about how well you use it. That's why things like Haki or Devil Fruit abilities can take these weapons from dangerous to absolutely broken. We've got all sorts of projectile weapons, from classic handguns and rifles to massive cannons and bows. Each has its own specialty. Handguns are great for quick, precise shots at mid-range, while rifles and cannons are built for long-distance destruction. And don't sleep on bows. They might seem old school, but when someone like Boa Hancock or the Kuja warriors wields them, they become deadly silent assassins. Then there's the high-tech stuff created by geniuses like Vegapunk, featuring crazy special bullets and unique abilities that take combat to a whole new level. And let's be real, Vegapunk's tech has been a major highlight in the Egghead arc. One of the best examples, Usopp's upgraded slingshot, Kabuto. What started as a simple rubber slingshot became an insane long-range weapon, helping him take down Sugar in Dressrosa and hold his own in Wano. It's not just strong, it's proof of how far Usopp has come from being that scaredy cat back in the East Blue. And speaking of sharpshooters, Yasopp's pistol is on a whole different level. This guy can allegedly shoot the wings off an ant from 100 steps away without killing it. That's the kind of accuracy that makes him a legendary sniper. And let's not forget the Straw Hat's ship weapons. The cannons on Going Merry and Thousand Sunny aren't just for show. They've helped the crew fight off enemies at sea, and the Gon cannon on Sunny has been a game changer, especially during the battle at Fishman Island. But the craziest part, when these weapons are combined with Haki. Just look at Van Augier, Blackbeard's sniper. This guy can take out targets from literal miles away with pinpoint accuracy. That's the kind of long-range combat that makes projectile weapons so freaking cool. Lasers. Lasers are straight-up next-level tech, showing off how far science has come in this crazy world of epic battles. If we break it down, lasers are basically concentrated energy beams, mostly light or heat, that can pierce through solid objects and cause explosions. Classic examples: the laser blast from Pacifistas or Kizaru, thanks to his Pika Pika no Mi. These things can cut through steel, shatter rocks, and explode on impact, like when a Pacifista casually blew up part of the scenery at Sabayoti. These bad boys aren't just floating around for anyone to pick up. Nope, they're elite tech, usually developed by geniuses like Dr. Vegapunk, the mad scientist behind some of the most insane inventions in One Piece. Not just anyone can get their hands on lasers. You gotta be part of a big organization like the Marines, or have some special devil fruit powers. What makes lasers so dangerous? Two things: speed and power. They travel at almost instant speeds, making dodging them ridiculously hard. And when they hit, boom, massive destruction. They burn, they pierce, they explode. But despite all that, lasers aren't as common as guns or swords. Why? Because they're mostly tied to high-tech modifications or special abilities. Still, whenever lasers show up in battle, you know something major is going down. There are different types of lasers, depending on how they're used and where they come from. First up, we've got robotic lasers, like the ones Frankie uses. Thanks to tech from Vegapunk, he upgraded his cyborg body with Radical Beam, a laser blast that can pierce through solid objects and cause huge explosions. One of the most epic moments? When Frankie used Radical Beam to take down Buffalo and Baby 5 in the Punk Hazard arc. Or when he blasted through the Smile Factory and wrecked Doflamingo's crew in Dressrosa. Then there's Kizaru, the Marine Admiral who basically is a walking laser gun. Thanks to his Pika Pika no Mi, he can shoot laser beams from his hands and feet, move at the speed of light, and unleash some seriously devastating attacks. Remember Sabayoti? Kizaru rolled up and wiped the floor with supernovas like Basil Hawkins, X-Drake, Urouge, and Scratchman Apu before they even knew what hit them. And let's not forget Queen, the mad scientist of the Beast Pirates. He's also got laser abilities, thanks to Vegapunk's technology. Though let's be real, his lasers don't quite hit as hard as the ones from Pacifistas or Kizaru. But wait, there's more. Seraphim are the latest and greatest in laser warfare. These guys are upgraded pacifistas, infused with DNA from the warlords of the sea, and even capable of using Haki. They showed up in the Egghead arc and instantly became a nightmare for the Straw Hats and CP0. At the end of the day, lasers aren't just powerful weapons. They're proof of how far science has come, especially with Vegapunk in the mix. But since they're not something just anyone can wield, whenever they show up, you know things are about to get wild. Substances. Substances are a pretty wild part of combat, adding creativity, diversity, and a whole lot of tactical potential to fights. If you think about these substances, they're not just your regular weapons. they're game changers. They come in all forms: liquids, gases, powders, or even weird solids, and their effects go way beyond just dealing direct damage. Some burn, some poison, some blind or paralyze, and some just put the opponent in a straight-up nightmare situation. But what they all have in common? They can massively impact a fight without needing a full-on physical clash. Characters like Magellan, Caesar Clown, and Treeball are prime examples of how substances can be weaponized in battle. We can break these substances down into different categories: toxins, explosives, gases, and corrosives, each with its own unique properties and battlefield applications. Take toxins, for example. Magellan's poison is an absolute menace. His Doku Doku no Mi lets him create multiple types of deadly poison, but his Venom Demon? That thing can wipe out an entire area. Just ask Luffy or Blackbeard's crew. They learned the hard way during the Impel Down arc. Once that poison hits you, it's basically game over. Then there are explosives, like Mr. Five's crazy bomb powers. Turning parts of his body into explosive weapons gives him an unpredictable and destructive attack style. Sure, it's not the hardest thing to dodge, but when it lands, boom, major damage. His battle against the Straw Hats in Alabasta was a perfect showcase of how explosive-based substances can shake up a fight and keep opponents on edge. Caesar Clown's deadly gas, Shinokuni, is another perfect example of how gases can spread and cause unpredictable effects. With the power to turn his enemies to stone, this gas isn't just dangerous, it's super tactical, especially when Caesar uses it to control crowds or pull off sneak attacks in battles. The catch? Since this gas can also backfire and affect his own teammates, controlling it properly becomes a major challenge. Then there's the corrosive substances, like Magellan's Venom, which can destroy not only a person's body, but also their weapons or armor. When combined with Magellan's Devil Fruit powers, these corrosive substances become an insane threat on the battlefield. These substances aren't just about attacking, though. They're also about creating unexpected situations that force the opponent into a corner or make them use special defense strategies, like hockey or antidotes. That's what makes these fights unpredictable, keeping things fresh and never boring. To sum it up, substances aren't just combat tools. They're full of strategy. They show the creativity and cleverness of mixing science and devil fruits on the battlefield. Characters who use these substances might not be the strongest physically, but they sure know how to turn every battle into an intense mental chess match. Ancient weapons. Ancient weapons are these legendary weapons that have the kind of destructive power capable of changing the world. They were created during the Void Century and are named after gods from mythology. The big three we know are Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. The common trait they all share? They have the power to destroy islands, nations, and even the world itself, which is why everyone and their dog wants to get their hands on them to shake things up. Pluton is a giant mechanical weapon described as the strongest warship ever. Made with ancient tech way ahead of its time, Pluton can flatten an entire island with a single shot. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a weapon with world-altering firepower. It's currently hidden somewhere in Wano, and who knows, one day it could be unleashed. That makes Pluton a prime target for a bunch of different forces in One Piece. Poseidon, on the other hand, isn't an object. It's a living creature. Specifically, it's a special mermaid with the ability to communicate with and control the Sea Kings. Princess Shirahoshi of Fishman Island is the one who holds this power, passed down through her royal bloodline from a mermaid during the Void Century. This power can summon massive natural disasters like tsunamis and floods. Shirahoshi, by accident, once called upon the Sea Kings to protect the island from Hody Jones, and Luffy got to witness this terrifying power firsthand. Poseidon's power isn't just about controlling sea creatures, it's a connection between humans and the ocean, with the ability to change the world through the ocean's might. Uranus is the most mysterious of the three. We don't really know what it is yet, but the name Uranus, from Greek mythology, suggests it might be related to the sky or something airborne. Some theories say it could be a weather-controlling weapon, or maybe even a weapon that can destroy from above. During the Reverie arc, a mysterious weapon, believed by many to be Uranus, appears and obliterates the country of Lulusia in an instant. This has led to the theory that it might be a weapon in the hands of the world government, lying dormant until needed. Uranus will definitely play a major role in the story's conclusion, especially when Luffy and the gang go up against Emu. These three ancient weapons aren't just terrifyingly powerful weapons, they're keys to unlocking the secrets of the Void Century. The poneglyphs are ancient records that help find them, and they'll undoubtedly play a crucial role as the story moves forward. In the end, ancient weapons aren't just tools of war, they represent massive changes coming to the world of One Piece. They'll guide the story toward its final destination, where the questions about power, the world's secrets, and the One Piece treasure will finally be answered. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.